Welcome to the Great Distraction.
Welcome back, people. This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is regional burner events. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts Joe,
Heyo,
Thomas,
aloha,
and Glenn.
Howdy ho!
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. So, this past weekend, we attended all four of us actually, a regional burn festival called, this particular one was called the Pagan Bunny Burn, but don't tell your friends. They're still trying to keep it on the down low. It's kind of a little bit of an underground thing. Wonderful event, located Northern California, I guess you'd call it, towards the west a little bit near the Mendocino National Forest. Very, very cool. Very unique experience. And we were all, we had so much fun. We were we enjoyed it so much. So we thought, man, we should talk about this. There's a lot to discuss here. For those that don't know, regional burn festivals are sub events, if you will, from that spawned from the larger Burning Man, the huge Burning Man event that happens every year, and they've spawned all over the world. Really, we are located in California, and there's many of them that happen throughout the year in all over California. But they're in many states, they're in many countries. I mean, there are literally thousands of these things everywhere, all over the world, and you can find them by Googling, and basically they're the same, a similar type situation. They're a weekend or they're a week if you're lucky enough to find a really cool one, and you buy your ticket and you adhere to the culture and you show up and you have a great time, whatever your definition of that is, to within reason. So we thought, okay, we do a topic on this for those that don't know about the culture, about the meaning, about what the purpose of these types of events are, and perhaps where they got started. And one of the things that extends from the main big Burning Man event is the 10 principles of Burning Man. Many of the events actually take on these same principles because they're amazing principles to live by, and certainly to
better than the 10 Commandments. That's for sure.
Better than the 10 Commandments. That's right. And it kind of helps everyone get on the same page with how they enjoy and participate in these events. And we're gonna go through these 10 here, and I promise it's not going to be boring. We're going to kind of speak on each one as we go through and mention how we saw it apply to this event, and why we think, wow, this is just a very, very cool mentality to have for putting together something that brings together so many people, and something that brings together such a diversity of stuff to do. And yeah, well, so we'll... if you actually go to the Burning Man, I think it's burningman.org or something like that, you can Google it. You can read these yourself and read a little bit more about it if you're curious about the culture. But we'll read through them and mention, like I mentioned here, we'll read through them and talk on each point there. So Joe's going to go ahead and read them, and then we'll comment as we go through. So let's start with the first one, man.
So yeah, I've been going to these events for about 6 years now or so, and the culture there really stood out. And then, after reading through these, you kind of realize exactly why the culture stands out from other parties. And the first one is one of my favorites. It's radical inclusion. Anyone may be part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. No prerequisites exist for participation in our community. And that's one that I always appreciate, always feeling like the odd man out. Or you don't have to worry about dressing strange, or
that's welcome.
Or going there and not having any fun because you will participate. Somebody will grab you, and you'll get kind of swept away with the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, right off the bat, I got to say, anyone welcome really is anyone welcome. There were kids there of all ages. There were up to elderly people. You'll meet everything from a doctor to the guy that does the local plumber. I mean, everyone's there, to local artists. Yeah, everyone literally welcome.
And Club 380 from Ben.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that reference here in a bit, but literally everyone welcome. It was awesome to see people some people let loose more than others. You could tell that we're not normally dressing like that, acting like that, partying like that, and then all of a sudden they're like, wow, they feel so comfortable here. Yeah,
and I think some people from an outside view might look at it and go, oh, it's just kind of like a costume party in some ways,
No,
but
not even.
But I think that, a lot of people get, trapped into this world, and we talked about it before with, your career job and your things. You have to be very sterile just to survive. And one of the things I noticed, and I did talk to a lot of people there that were from all different walks of life, and I think it's awesome that people who have those, sort of jobs, responsibilities, everybody needs an outlet.
Yep.
And everybody needs to go somewhere and just be
something
different, something they're not every day. And and that not is usually something fun, outgoing, things you can't do at a regular, high-end job, I'm going to say.
It's almost being closer to who you are. In essence, you don't
right?
You don't need to wear the mask.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I saw or experienced that really, harbored an appreciation for this is the first event I ever went to was here in Sacramento, and I don't think they hold it anymore, but it was called Burn the River. And I remember walking by a bar, and we were kind of just cruising past, getting a feel for the lay of the land, and we kind of got stopped and by one of the girls working the bar, and they had this Wheel of Fortune wheel set up, and you could participate. You could spin the wheel, to get a drink. And I remember the one that I landed on was turn around and yell to the crowd what you masturbate to. And so I, sure enough, followed course and got my free shot. But I just remember thinking, like, for a split second, oh my God, this is going to be ridiculous. But it was hilarious. It was great. And, it was really a lot of fun. It kind of opened the floodgate for it a little bit.
Yeah, mental note, guys, we're going to need one of those wheels next year.
Right. Yeah, it had all kinds of different things you could do for a shot. It was really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, great idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one on here is gifting. Burning Man is devoted to acts of gift giving. The value of a gift is unconditional. Gifting does not contemplate a return or an exchange for something of equal value. This one stands out for me big time. Being a glass artist or any sort of craftsman, there's a lot of value and weight added to this because I definitely throughout the year make small pieces that I can take to the events to gift, and it's a great experience. It's a great way to meet new people, and it's a great way to spark conversation with new people, and just giving somebody something just to watch them light up and see them appreciate the gift that you're giving them, and then talk to them a little bit about the time and effort and knowledge that goes into it. You just watch them melt in a sense,
Okay.
and you instantly have a new friend or acquaintance, and they'll see you again later.
Yep.
And want to talk to you. And another thing that I realized is when somebody is giving gifts or has a theme camp or putting something on that you really appreciate, you can find a really cool piece that you have for them and share it with them. And they don't do things with an expectance of something in return. But when you do have something for them, again, they just light up.
They want to, and if they have anything to offer you, they definitely will. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a really awesome concept, man. Just I had a number of people give me things, and it was like, wow, I mean, dude, this is so cool. I can't believe. Thank you. I mean, I'll hold that thing and remember it every single year, or and in between, right, until the next one. It's just very, very cool, and it also makes you. Well, okay, maybe not everybody. It made me walk away thinking, damn, what can I put together myself to give out next year? Because I want to be part of that. That makes the scene. It makes. Yeah.
Well, I think it is really cool about it too is generally anything that people are giving out is something that they made.
Yes.
And that, to me, is what really strikes a chord, because just like Joe was talking about, working on pieces and giving out things, this is part of you. This is a real gift from you. Whether it's something that took you 5 minutes or 5 hours, that kind of doesn't really matter. It's just you're giving. So there's that appreciation, and you're looking at something that matters so much. Just like the old adage, if you don't have something to give somebody for Christmas, make them something.
Yep.
Well, this is what that really feels like, and it's a pretty awesome experience.
Definitely. I didn't have a whole lot made up to give, but when you make a connection and having something that you put time into, and there is an investment there, and it's not necessarily but I don't know, sharing that, you're passing that to somebody, and it's true, man. It sparks connection. It it leaves an impression on somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's something that they're going to take and hold on to, and
heck yeah. Especially the stuff that was done for the children, for kids that were there. I mean, there were a lot of kids there. A lot of parents brought their families, and man, there were theme camps that were just dedicated to things for the kids to do, and dude, they loved it. All day long, they were pouring all over those camps. And some people built vehicles that they were taking the kids on rides on, and then after it got dark, the vehicles were lit up. And I mean, those free rides, I don't know, I think they were doing face painting, and I didn't pay attention too much to what the kids were doing. But I mean, there was so many theme camps that were doing just things for kids. They loved it. They're going to sit there and think of that place like it was damn Disneyland, man. I mean, so next year they're going to want to go too, and their parents can go. And then, you know, when it gets too late, they put the kids in the campers to go to sleep, and then they come out and party, you know?
Yeah, I saw a lot of kids that looked like they were wearing their Halloween costume again.
Yeah, basically.
And I was like,
That's
right
cool.
the F
That's
on,
awesome.
man. Well, Halloween's the greatest holiday ever, and you just can't. I mean,
Now you get another.
if you're not, I mean, I know so many little nieces and nephews that, like, you know, they want to wear their Halloween costume for like a month before and like 3 months after, and I'm like, I would too.
I definitely had one of those kids walk up and give me some Halloween candy.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, we did. That's right. Yeah, they actually came up to our camp. And
Yeah,
gave
they
us-
did.
that's right. I remember that now.
And they were giving out candy.
Yes.
Yeah, they were giving out candy. Yeah.
Wow, look at the life lessons there.
Yeah, and this is definitely one of the principles that has stood out with me outside of the burner community. You know, I've always known talented artistic people, you know, so gifting in exchange for money instead of money has always been pretty fun experience.
It's like a
for me.
karmatic thing or something, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like you need to build some positive vibes. I want to hook somebody up with something that they'll appreciate, and like
I don't want anything in return.
it'll come back to me some other way or,
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, maybe it won't, but it never doesn't matter. You know, it's like sometimes that makes you feel good just doing that. Okay, so go on to the next one.
Oh, so this next one goes hand in hand, decommodification. In order to preserve the spirit of gifting, our community seeks to create social environments that are unmediated by commercial sponsorship, transactions, or advertising. We stand ready to protect our culture from such exploitation. We resist the substitution of consumption for participatory experience.
Yeah.
Nothing's for sale.
Right.
No.
Well, the
Aside
first thing
from your ticket.
If your
Yeah.
ticket. You know, the first thing I'll say is, for me, you know, a couple times when I was walking around, it reminded me of some other place I've been to, like Rega on the River kind of things, or different events, or Swabbies is what I was actually thinking.
Yeah, Swabbies.
But, you know, it was at one point I was actually walking around and I was like, I felt like if I was at a place like that, there'd be like a Coors Light advertisement everywhere. And all that.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was nothing but nature and people and colors was awesome. The fact to erase that complete thing out of your vision. I mean, for me, that's why I go to nature and why I go out, you know, and do things outside of like
Camping
the city, or they're camping
yeah,
or something,
yeah.
just to not have to see like a billboard or a beer ad or
Some
something.
stars that are really
some
bright.
stupid thing like that. And it was cool to be around so many people. And at one point, I actually thought about that. I was like, I looked around and I was like, there's nothing but handmade signs here. And it's like a village of survivors from Walking Dead almost.
No
you know?
cell phones either. 'Cause
no cell phones.
None of us
And it
had
was-
cell phone coverage.
Yeah, it
Well,
was super cool because it was just, I don't know, I felt like I walked away from all this technology and just crap to me, you know, and it's I think in that regard it's a big plus because people just disconnect. They unplug from the matrix for a minute.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and in case we didn't make that clear enough, or you didn't know that already, I'm pretty sure it's the same in the large event, but in a lot of these smaller events, there is no cash. You don't buy anything from anyone, and that's an odd concept when the first time you hear about it and think about it. Yeah, and it extends well beyond what you might imagine. There, for example, there was this one theme tent that was doing grilled cheese sandwiches for everyone. Like they had a whole bunch of like commercial panini press things or whatever, and they were literally just rolling out grilled cheese sandwiches for everyone. Just walk up, get a grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, it was awesome.
You didn't make it over to the s'mores, did
No,
you?
I walked past it, but and I heard I don't really like s'mores, but yeah, they were making.
But it's still it's
Yeah,
just super
awesome.
cool.
Had
you
some
know?
bomb ass
worth it.
tri-tip out there.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Really? Try to.
Yeah, at the fart camp.
Oh yeah, the fart
fart,
camp. I didn't even
yeah.
talk to those guys. Another example, the camp that was right next to us, whom we knew some people that were in that camp. He, I guess he was looking to get into professionally brewing beer. Right, he wanted to start his own company.
yeah.
He brought 20 gallons of beer of two different brews that he did. They built it up on a mobile cart with it lit up at night, and it had two tap spigots coming out of the top, and it held 2 kegs at a time for each of the beer. And you just
Beautiful.
rolled that
Beautiful.
thing around camp, pouring beers for people. I mean, that's for nothing. Just bring up your cup.
Right.
There it is.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cool. and it inspires you to want to give back to it because it makes it that much better for everybody else.
It really does, yeah. Yeah, one of the things that too also stands out, if you brought up, swabbies. There are things like that in, locally or commercially, shot girls. They'll pour you shot and, you can shoot the shit.
Alcohol reps.
But then, it's always in the back of my mind. It's like these girls are getting paid to be here.
They're getting paid to smile at you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then whereas in an event like that, everybody's there of their own free will. They're there because they want to be there sharing whatever gift or good that they have. And it just creates a whole different vibe.
You're right. I mean, and more than that, not only are they there because they want to be there, they paid to be there. Everything they brought, we all worked hard for our money. We all put it into whichever way we were going to make it to the event or make the event better. We all paid to buy our tickets. So we traded our time and our money to participate in an event that we knew was going to be something that we wanted to be part of, not for any monetary gain or not for any other reason other than to just be a part of
experience.
The experience, yeah. All right, let's go to the next one.
Next one is radical self-reliance. Burning Man encourages the individual to discover, exercise, and rely on his or her inner resources.
Which kind
harsh environment.
Get crafty.
Yeah.
Get crafty.
Figure out how to survive with
cover your ass.
Yeah, with only what you can carry in.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Carry out.
Well, yeah, you don't have access to a supermarket or anything like that.
Maybe
don't lean on others.
Yeah, maybe some events you could drive out and go somewhere. This particular one that we were at, well, I know Burning Man that's real far away from anything, right?
You're there.
This particular one, I think we were maybe 45 minutes, an hour away from.
Probably less than 45 minutes.
Something like that.
Willows, yeah.
Okay, from this the next town, which is a very, very small town. I think it was like 500 population or something. And so, yeah, I mean, you don't intend to go that way at all. I mean, there's everything you bring, you bring in, and that's it. And you got to make sure you've got everything you need, including the fun stuff. If you're in a party or you're going to set up something as lighting or clothes or any of that stuff, you got to bring all with you.
You got to be able to provide your own power if you need power.
Yep.
Heat source.
Yep. Batteries, everything. Yeah, heat. We got real cold in this particular location. I mean, different. Every location would be different, right? But this particular one, it had
whatever
to be,
creature comforts you desire.
That's it. Yeah, that you want to cart in and then prepare to clean it up and cart it out. Yeah. We were real lucky with this one. I mean, that you could basically drive your car all the way up to the campsite. I mean, it wasn't something where you had to like hike your stuff in. I imagine there are some like that too. And what you're going to bring is going to be a heck of a lot lighter, right? You're not going to be carrying a generator if you got to hike it in.
Right.
But no, this one you can drive all your equipment up to. Okay, go ahead.
Next one is radical self-expression. Radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. No one other than the individual or collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others. In the spirit, the giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient.
To me, the first thing I kind of felt like is that this ties into the anyone welcome.
Definitely. Come
beginning.
As you are.
That's it, man.
Well, they all kind of tie together in some aspect.
True. But I mean, the first thing it made me think of was that everyone's welcome. If you and in that everyone's welcome is you are also free to express yourself any way you like.
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite part is wearing badass clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this time around, I had a super talented friend of mine make an awesome top hat. And had all kinds of colors on it. I got to put all kinds of pins on it, and it was legit. I mean, it caught a lot of attention, got a lot of compliments. It was my favorite part.
Yep.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of acting like, or being like 15 again.
Yeah. It kind of gives you that space to be a kid again, for sure.
Right. Where you're throw on what you want. You want to express yourself in this way. You're trying to. It gives you an opportunity to redefine or define an image, or that's totally out of the box.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna look at you weird for wearing,
whatever,
a single spandex legging.
Yep.
And an armband.
Yep. Or a full bunny suit onesie.
Right.
I mean, we saw everything there.
You can go as balls to the wall crazy or as muted as you want.
Yep.
Although if you are just wearing standard street clothes, you are going to look out of place.
Yeah, square wear.
I mean,
yep.
Tie-dye is pretty standard.
Yeah, that's what I went with. That's square enough, man. I mean, that was kind of the norm, so to speak. If that was like the least you would want to do.
Right.
Yep.
If your tie-dye was like the underdressed sort of muted expression, But it was fantastic. I really, really enjoy those sort of environments.
Yeah.
It's liberating. It's like
It's really cool to see people so comfortable.
right.
They were just, I mean, again, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know why a person might be more comfortable in some really loud rainbow furry jacket if that's what they, decided to bring out. But yeah, I mean, everyone just really comfortable. Hey, look at me. Okay, you're looking at me. Okay, we're talking. All right, we're good. Immediately comfortable.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but it works.
Right.
Yeah, having to operate in a professional environment, from 9 to 5 throughout the week, this is one of my favorites because
Yeah.
it really is.
Just the
There's really just so
well-
much more fun you can have,
Yeah.
Also, it feels like as I don't know, as open and expressive as it is, it feels like you're not playing the game anymore. God damn it.
You mean the one that you're losing?
Yes, exactly.
When you just
No,
lost.
we go through this act every day. You get up, you interact with these people. They have these expectations that we assign ourselves to believe in because they don't really exist. But
Yeah.
whatever, we buy into it. So
Societal constraints.
right. And I don't know. You kind of put yourself in a box, and you limit your actions, your expressions. You go through this routine, and you stop really being. And this gives you an opportunity to really take that off and just be you for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and I think sometimes I've got other buddies that do other type of events. I've got one I'm not going to go to this year that I try to go to every year. It's a Mad Max motorcycle ride, and it's kind of a theme. And all these people do these crazy things with motorcycles and gear, but it's it's the same thing. It's like they have a theme. It's something that people devote a lot of their spare time into, so they can have fun, even if it's for a short period of time, like a weekend or a day or whatever. I know people who spend the entire year prepping for some of these things.
Yep.
Everything they do, all their spare time goes, and it's just kind of cool that people pick up a hobby or an interest that gives them something to focus on that's positive.
Yeah.
And instead of being mad about something or whatever, the spare time they got, I'm gonna work on my tent, I'm gonna work on my gear, I'm gonna work on my outfit or whatever.
I'm gonna make some gifts.
I'm gonna make some gifts or whatever.
And you know what else is nice about that? Because I was thinking about that same thing too. You're working you're devoting yourself to something just specifically for this event. But the cool part is that you get recognition for it at the end. People are going to think what you did is cool, as opposed to just working on something that's just for you in your garage. I mean, which
I think it's a mentality thing too. You're more of a sharing person.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it attracts. And what's the thing I do like about it is I see things as a professional artist, and I might see somebody do something. I'm like, oh, that's neat. But there's also a jaded part of me is like, oh, you could have did that this way because I do it for a living. But then I'm looking at stuff and and when I'm there, I'm just I just look at everything and I'm like, wow, just the way people express themselves, especially if they make something or build something or make their wardrobe or something, I just really appreciate every level of people making something and actually putting in the effort to go, you know what, I'm going to try this. I don't care what it looks like because nobody else there is going to care either.
Yeah.
They're just going to be happy that I tried.
Yep.
And we did have a pretty badass home camp.
We did. It almost blew away the night before you got there. But we won't talk about that one.
And that's a big part of it too. I think what it boils down to is putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of effort into something you do. I know I do this as an artist with my work, and putting yourself out there and then getting such a positive response from people. It's like people don't have to, they're under, no constraint to give that reciprocation. But when they do, it feels all the more, it's even better.
Definitely.
It feels more pure, more realistic.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, and that I can imagine would make all your work the whole prior year, throughout the year, worth
gives you
it
that
just
validation.
for that, yep.
Really.
And it's crazy. Like this year, I felt like this year there were a lot more children there in general.
Yeah, it does seem like it.
Definitely seem more family oriented. And it was weird. Even where we were camped out, I walked around the outside, perimeter a couple times, just kind of looking in, how I was like, well, how many people are here? How busy is this site? And it was crazy how many couples that I saw that were sort of camping out of their car, camping out of a small tent. And back to what I said earlier about the people that I could just look at them. I'm like, they hate their job. They're so. You can just look at them, the way their hair is cut, the way they do,
Looking for an outlet.
They're looking for an outside way to just scream and yell, And when I was a kid, I had music and and going to shows and things like that. I always made an outlet for all that energy. And I think a lot of people, like we were saying before, you get older and you start working, you get a mortgage, you got a kid or whatever. Sometimes you don't have time for that outlet. You can't afford that outlet. And I felt like I saw a lot of people that fit in that category, and it kind of actually was one of my most enjoyable parts, was seeing so many other people that I was like, they just want to be a little nutty this weekend, man. Good for them. Go out and scream and feel a little bit better,
joke. I'm waiting for the Club 308 joke.
308.
It's not a joke. It's an entire segment.
380. I'm sorry. 380.
See, that's where it starts right there.
That is how it started for me.
He was bouncing around so much he got the 8 and the 0 mixed up.
What you just described for that couple that you imagined, is exactly
that was
how
Ben for anybody who's
exactly
paying
how
attention.
how I found myself where I did.
Lost.
When we first lost you and then refound you with, what's the guy's name?
Tall Irish was his
Tall
name. Tall Irish.
So when we came back several hours later and you were still intimately close to him on the blow-up couch, we just decided to let things roll.
Oh man! You stop and have a good conversation with a guy, and it's got to be intimate.
Well, I mean,
was it an intimate conversation?
3
Just answer
hours
the
laying
question.
next to a guy on a couch, man.
You guys were grooving.
Yeah, we just walked up
they
and
kept
looked
putting
at you and was like,
There was some pretty good beats playing.
It was good beats, and it was
We'll be here for a
daytime
while.
too. It was not even. I was just waiting for the night to fall so we could start getting up and grooving.
right.
All right, next up we got Communal Effort. Our community values creative cooperation and collaboration. We strive to produce, promote, and protect social networks, public spaces, works of art, and methods of communication that support such interaction. This is another one of my favorites because
You can see it everywhere.
since I've been going to these events, I've always brought a group of people with me, and luckily enough, I'm fortunate to have awesome people around me. But you come together, and you really do at events like this, and you really do get a sense of tribe, and those people become your tribe. And I can't think of a single instance where I didn't express to somebody, it's like, man, I want something, I want like a drink, or I want, I wish I would brought more weed, and those people didn't help me to get up off my ass and go find what I was looking for. And that's just an awesome feeling, that tribe mentality.
It was a very human experience.
Mm-hmm.
Very tribal, very back to the earth, and people being people. It was really refreshing.
Yeah, very much so. Gotta agree with that. Yeah, definitely a community vibe, man. I mean, everybody was cool to help anybody out with anything, and walking around. Maybe where I live or where I walk around, normally it's an oddity, and maybe that's just for me, but I have not had
It's not like that.
Yeah,
It's
I've
very
never had
different.
so many people say hi and
It's
good morning, how are you?
More
and just
like a
man.
small village.
Yeah.
I know my first year that I was there, I had way too much party in me, and it weighed on me, and I didn't have my faculties about me, and I was still up and moving, and I just remember people stopping me and looking out for me. I came to and sobered up a little bit, and there was not a spot of dirt on me. And I think I had at least a handful of people approach me to ask if I was doing okay. And that really stood out to me a lot. Not that I try and make a habit of doing that to myself, but everybody slips up, and I slipped up in an environment that everybody was looking out for me.
Safe to do
nobody
so.
tried to take advantage of me. Nobody. It was a really heartwarming feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I could totally see that.
Kind of reminds me of Ben in the 380 Club.
He was taken care of well, man.
He was definitely.
It was
in a
kind of
warm,
cool.
fuzzy space.
We'd walk around and we all kind of spread out and cluster around, and you come across somebody and they're like, oh hey, have you seen Joe or Ben? I'm like, well, I haven't seen Joe recently, but I know where Ben is.
Everybody knew where Ben was the entire night.
Totally. And we hadn't seen
He was
you
in between
like 2
that
hours.
chair, and this table over here.
Right.
This
No, he had about a 5-foot section around the fire pit where he was standing, arms in the air,
Busting a
eyes
move.
closed,
Busting a move.
and just getting down.
All right, before we break any more balls, why don't you talk about Club 380?
Oh,
Tell us
and
what
what
it's
it
like.
was.
What did it mean to you?
What did it mean?
'Cause we know what it meant to us.
So, Joe's seen this before. Glenn and Thomas, they've never seen this before from me, so they're that's why they're teasing me about it. So this theme camp was a big white tent that they had put up.
Couple
of circus tents that they had set up. Yeah, and they actually had a couple generators going, and they had. I don't know if any for people who out there know the equipment. They had a Pioneer a DJ set up out there. They had good music bumping, and they had a dude
Good vibes, bouncing around. It was right on the edge, looking over the cliff.
Yeah, it was just a
Nice
great
view,
position,
good
great
breeze
everything.
coming through.
And then they had a couple of little fire pits inside to keep everybody warm because it did get colder in the nighttime. And I discovered a number of years ago that my outlet, like Thomas was describing earlier with the couple in the car metaphor there, my outlet is definitely EDM music. I love music of all genres, but man, when I attended,
EDM.
I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it was Vegas.
Fucking A.
It was Vegas. That's what it was. We stumbled into some club in Vegas late in the evening or whatever.
Stumbled into the octagon.
Yeah, and man, I unleashed and discovered a part of me I did not know was there. And ever since then, it's kind of been an addiction to get into that club life and enjoy myself. It's just amazing. So when I sniffed past that place, and I was like, wait. What's that music? I pretty much couldn't leave, and I was there a majority of the available time.
There we go. Now you're in the know.
Yeah.
Except for the visuals, you can never quite
Yeah.
express the visuals.
All right,
Yeah.
next up we got civic responsibility. We value civil society. Community members who organize events should assume responsibility for public welfare and endeavor to communicate civic responsibilities to participants. They must also assume responsibility for conducting events in accordance with local, state, and federal laws. And I've definitely witnessed this with everything that I've gone to. People who have bars, I've actually been asked, made friends with the people keeping the bar, and they wanted to bounce around a little bit versus being held stationary at their bar the whole time. So, they gave me the ability to take over their bar and, gave me the rules, gave me the law of the land, told me what not to do, and then told me have fun and we'll be back in a few minutes. So everybody's really responsible for what they're doing. If you're climbing on top of a vehicle, there's always somebody there, or they put up posts around the vehicle so you can grab onto something. I've definitely always seen this in the events that I've gone to personally.
I totally feel like that ties into the communal, the last one we did, the communal support or whatever. Everybody helps keep everything civil, and I mean, I may have been inebriated most of the time there, but nevertheless, when I was paying attention to what was right, I didn't see anybody doing anything dumb at all.
No, it was a very safe environment.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of potentially dangerous situations that were handled in a method that made them safe
and responsible.
Yeah,
I've actually seen people stop somebody who was too inebriated from climbing up a ladder to get on the roof of a school bus. So I have seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of a self-policing.
Yeah.
No official authority figure to say don't do this.
There's no hired security or anything. Yeah.
But everybody, if somebody's not in control of their actions, or everybody will look out. Everybody's there to keep each other safe, and it's a pretty good. You just don't get the stupid.
Yeah, I walked away feeling pretty good about myself because nobody told me that I was getting too crazy in 380. So
no, dude. Hey, man, I'm
no one was going to step into that bubble. And I felt like you had this globe around you, and I didn't want to get too close to get burned or something. I was just like,
you were a force of nature
dancing,
at that point.
He's got his energy going. I was like, I'm gonna let this dude run with this.
Oh man,
it made me smile, and you were smiling the whole time. So I was like, I wish I could dance. I got 2 busted knees. I'm gonna walk over here.
All right, next we got one of my personal favorites as well. Leaving no trace. Our community respects the environment. We are committed to leaving no physical trace of our actions wherever we gather. We clean up after ourselves and endeavor, whenever possible, to leave such places in a better state than when we found them. This one, hits home for me a lot because I can't tell you how many festivals I've been to where there's just people tromping all over the place, flicking cigarette butts, throwing their garbage on the
that's the
porta
worst.
potties, and they just look like such slobs.
Yep.
You know, but they're all done up. They look all fancy in their rave wear, and it's just like, God, are you serious? Come on, put the cigarette out. Yeah. There's places there's receptacles for it. Don't just throw it on the ground. It always really pisses me off.
Yep.
And that's something I've really seen at these local events, the regional burns, that stood out for sure. And I've been with other groups of people who comment on that as well.
There are no trash cans.
No.
There is no garbage service.
No.
If you bring it, you bring it in. Take it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's.
This event did have porta potties and wash stations though for those that wondering.
Every event I've been to has porta potties. A lot of them do have garbage cans. I've also seen some that have multiple cans together with signs on it. One says garbage, the other says recyclable, and the third one says nitrous oxide for your tanks.
Nice.
So there's definitely there's this level of responsibility.
Yeah,
there.
and I mean, I'm assuming everyone else did the same because I mean everyone who was leaving around us, I didn't notice anything left behind. But we painstakingly picked up every damn piece of trash. I mean, there might have been some salsa left on the ground that we spilled. Because
definitely
it fell.
Some beer.
Yeah, there was definitely some beer poured out, but no, we didn't leave anything. Not a zip tie cut off, not a twist tie. I mean, just
all that stuff is called moop. Falls under the category of moop. And after the event's gone and everybody for the most part cleans up and packs out, the people who put it on or friends of the people who put it on make passes back and forth, and everybody picks up any moop that they can find.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in our area, and we
Nothing.
were
I walked
later because most people, those, like I said, the couples and stuff. All those people got up early, and they were out of there, and of course we're just a bunch of hooligans drinking, so we were there until whatever we had to leave. Yep. But there's a lot of people who had gone by the time we were even taking down their tent, and I was like, man, I just looking around, I'm like, it just looks like
they disappeared, like they weren't even there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So that's really cool that everybody comes with that mentality, and it really helps, because I mean, the people who put on the event, the people who have to do the final walkthrough when everybody's gone. I mean, how annoying would it be? Like, oh, I'm the guy that gets stuck here, I mean, cleaning, walking through, picking up all this random. I mean, that's terrible to do to somebody, So I hope they didn't have to pick up much.
Well, I think another thing too is with that event. I mean, I don't know if you guys did but for some reason, every year when I go there, I end up talking to the old dude that owns the place.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I was talking to him for a bit.
You were there too, and he's super cool dude. For some reason, every time he sees me, he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And just because that's the way it is,
That's cool.
And but I always end up talking to him and stuff, and I think he, everybody most people there know him and know that that's a family's land.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with it too. People are respecting that this person is part of this community and they're letting this land be used for an event. So everybody's, it's just a different level of respect as opposed to just going to like the Golden Gate Park for a concert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning. This particular event is hosted on private owned land, and the owners are there, and they're very, very much a part of the whole deal. So that's really kind of a unique thing. Is the people who own the place that you're standing on right now are just hanging right over there. You're welcome to go talk to them and ask them why in the heck they did this and what it's all about. And that's kind of crazy because that really breeds a community feeling. And how many times you go to an event that you even know who the whose event is this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's super cool. Last year they actually got married on the property, so there was a big steampunk wedding.
I totally remember
That's really cool.
Yeah, halfway through the event before the burn. It was awesome.
Well, yeah,
that is.
But yeah, and I think I think there's a disconnect when you're just going to a concert or going to an event or even like a Coachella or anything like that. I mean, really, it's just. I mean, that's that's the type of
nobody
event that it is.
that.
Nobody cares. Nobody respects it. They're flipping cigarette butts out on the ground.
There's party cups all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overpriced beers, and they throw the underpriced cup on the ground. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go on.
Next up, we got participation.
Yep.
Our community is committed to a radically participatory ethic. We believe that transformative change, whether in the individual or in society, can occur only through the medium of deeply personal participation. We achieve being through doing. Everyone is invited to work. Everyone is invited to play. We make the world real through actions that open the heart.
Yeah, that's totally that communal thing too.
Yeah, I think this goes along with what I was stating earlier about that Wheel of Fortune wheel and, yelling out what it is that I like to masturbate to. It really brought me into the moment. And at first I felt that twinge of fear when I was like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to do this. But then sure enough, a millisecond later, I knew I was going to do it. And it really started the whole process of opening up in the environment and accepting what the environment is. and then being more inclined to actively participate. So it's a powerful thing, being somebody who's like shy a lot, or, who doesn't talk to as many people as he would like to, or, be as active in the environment. That's really a powerful thing. So
It's a hell of an icebreaker.
it is,
Right?
yeah.
And I think that's one thing too, and I noticed with some of the events, and one of the things I think is what I'd like to see more of, I guess, on things, is that exact thing, the icebreakers. Because even when you walk around, it's a very welcoming village. I'm just going to call it a village. It's a very welcoming village, but like, you can walk around and just kind of like float. It's up to you, and nobody really cares. But I like it when, because I'm kind of a flip-flop. I'm a very social person. I know lots of people, but there's time when I'm like, especially if I get in a crowd where I'm just like, all of a sudden I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm cool with experiencing it, but I just don't want to talk to anybody. And I don't know what it is, but when I'm in some situations like that, there's been times when I've gone to events or something when there's like an icebreaker where they just drag everybody in. You're walking by, you're a part of it now, whether you like it or not. And if you're there to be a part of the group anyway. So you're allowing somebody to break the ice for you. And those are the things that I like the most about it. And I think gifting's kind of the same way, because somebody will just come out of nowhere and just be like, hey, man. And all of a sudden you feel like somebody, because somebody wants to interact with you.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do the last one real quick before we run out of time.
Last one is immediacy. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone of value in our culture. We seek to overcome barriers that stand between us and the recognition of our inner selves, the reality of those around us, participation in society, and contact with the natural world exceeding human powers. No idea can substitute for this experience.
Yeah, being present.
Being present.
In the moment.
I know a lot of times people have asked me to do something or participate in some way, and I'm just like, maybe later. Maybe after that next drink. Yeah. But this really helps you overcome that a bit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so if we're done going over those rules, let's what I wanted to do too is kind of go around the table and each of us just pick a favorite aspect or something that stood out to you. Let's kind of one or the other, and from this particular event, or I guess if you've gone to another one, a past one or two, and so we can give a specific something or other that really stuck in your head, from the event. And I'll go ahead and
I'll start that off right off the bat. The most important to me is the gift mentality. I love it. I love exchanging gifts with people, getting cool shit. It's great. Also, the leave no trace and the participation as well.
Yeah. What do you got, Glenn? Something?
The gifting, not to parrot Joe here, but it was a very significant experience.
How
for
about
me.
a specific? Did you
Totally,
receive
yeah.
something particular there, or a specific example of that you experienced this past weekend? Or
there was this interesting woman that I met that we just started talking. Wandered up to a fire pit, and these people were standing there and wandered into a conversation and asked what I did, and it's like, I make glass art. And she's like, really? I make glass art? And got on a conversation about that, and she's like, did you make that, to this pendant that I was wearing? I'm like, oh yeah, I did. And we started talking about it, and I'm like, you know what, here. And I gave it to her, and the expression on her face, she's like, no, I can't. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, take it, please.
Yep.
And it was just warming. It was
Really cool.
It was a powerful moment for me.
Yeah, I believe it.
And it was just
It was
Cool.
legit.
totally.
Yeah. Well, that's
It was kind of like 380 was for me.
The gift that keeps on giving. Club 380.
But there's from the artist's point of view, that's somebody who's has expressed appreciation of my work, and that to me is
Super rewarding, right?
very, very much so. And then to have somebody that you can see actually like treasures something that there's something powerful about that, and
awesome.
that's
an awesome thing to stand out from the event for you too. I mean, that's just like, wow, that's a great freaking memory, right?
right.
Was that the girls that we talked to when we were walking on the trail?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. I was pretty drunk, but
I was pretty drunk at the time.
I wasn't like 380 clubbing drunk. But That was pretty
Awesome.
good.
All right.
Well,
What
you
do
know,
got, Thomas?
for me, I think one of the things that really stands out is sort of the self-reliance. I love that. I love people like taking care of their surroundings, and not only nature, but just what they need. And I think it's a good education for a lot of people who go to these events to like, I have to pick up it was cool to see. And like what you said, when people left, it was like a ghost. It was like, was that person really there? Because they left no trace.
Yeah,
To me, it was a cool thing about it. And not only that, it's like the creativity of people making things. Like the guy that was rolling around with the kegs and brewed all the beer. I was like, dude, that is so freaking cool. I think those things stand out to me the most. And just like the tent we've been talking about. I was like, man, just seeing weird things that other people do and how they'll incorporate it into an event or something. Was super cool to me. It was inspiring.
I would love to participate in a theme camp.
Big
Absolutely,
time.
yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Seeing people's outlets, stuff they came up with. So, okay, are you done? You're good?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the things that stuck out the most for me that I was surprised none of you guys have mentioned at this point. Do you guys? Somebody had built.
We've mentioned the 380.
There was. I think it was a gentleman who had built it. He built a car that was maybe on
the art cars.
The car. Yeah, but one in particular, the fish one at night that had the rainbow strip lighting, all the LED lighting.
I was writing in that
dude,
thing.
that thing was, you got it. That thing was so cool. The fins moved, the back fin moved, and like imagine like maybe the shape of a guppy, and the whole thing was maybe 13 feet long, something like that.
Yeah, it's about as long as a normal car.
Yeah, but okay, and it was shaped like this, and he had the outlines. It was all a steel frame around it, and there was the seating, maybe 6 people inside, something like that.
I don't know.
You can get probably 8.
Maybe 8 people inside of this thing in the belly of what would be the belly of it, and he's driving in the head of it. And then there was a seat in the very front, in front of the mouth that hung out.
It was like a saddle out front.
Yeah, and you could sit on that, and you could drive around in this thing. But he had these beautiful RGB LEDs that would move in ribbons all around it. And the way he accented this thing, you'd see this thing driving down the path when you were walking past in the middle of the night when it was dark, and it was beautiful, man. That thing
rainbow fish skeleton.
It was awesome, dude. I was so impressed with that vehicle, and it was simple design, but it was awesome, man.
Yeah. That reminds me of one of the first events I went to. There was a super cool vehicle, and it looked like one of those jungle gym toys when you're a kid that's like a dome, but you can crawl over the dome,
Oh, wow, yeah.
And then so you can hang around on the outside. It's almost like 2 layers of hanging. And then on the inside is an ATV that freely rotates. So the person driving would drive the vehicle around. People would just climb on and just hold on. And then he would start driving, and then he would tell us to do stuff. So he'd like drive up on people who had just parked and they were unpacking. And he'd be like, all right, now everybody go. So you have like 8 people hanging onto this with all these lights, and they drive up on this vehicle unpacking. Everybody's going, and people just like stop what they're doing. They look around like, what the hell is going on? And he like turns around and takes off, and somebody's handing you a drink as you're like holding on and moving around in a circle. It was a lot of fun. Those vehicles are a lot of fun.
Wow. So that thing was the first. That was the thing will probably stick with me as far as like a physical thing I saw there. And then I had seen it before. The other thing that will stick with me is I had seen it been in environments like that before, but this one was a very welcome thing to see there, which I didn't know if I should expect it or not. But the mentality behind 308 is that is my place to be free.
380.
I'll never get past it, dude.
His head was moving so quick he could never catch the numbers.
It's the dyslexia kicking in, man. No way. So the thing there was that was my freedom of expression, and that was a place where I was just completely let go and like free and happy, And so it's like I had found places like that before, but for me, that's the thing I'll take is it. That was a place, man. I was open. I was free for that time.
Yeah, and it's a thing. As I said, I think a lot of people feel fairly constrained in their normal lives.
Yep.
So to have an event, or especially if you're doing something like, like again, going back to that tinkering guy in the garage who only gets to have 3 hours of his own time a week because of his job and all this.
And
other
nobody
stuff
ever sees what he does.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares. So he's just kind of living his thing. But that a lot of those people tinker with weird little things, and it's if they have events like this or somewhere to go out and share them with people
and get some recognition
of doing something and just kind of have fun and smile and laugh and that's I think it's the whole deal.
It's
really.
amazing.
Well, it's amazing how much it satisfies my spirit, for lack of a better word, to express and to
it's deep, dude.
Yeah, to have other people respond to your expression It matters. It really does for whatever sort of inner process is going on there. I mean, it's
no, I'm totally with you. All right, and before we finish this episode up, one other thing I wanted to go around and see what we could put together as far as suggestions and advice goes. Is anyone looking to do these kinds of things, participate in these kinds of events, or get involved in these type of communities? I mean, I know a couple of us have only done it once, but you guys have.
I will definitely be doing it more though.
Oh yes, absolutely. For sure. Just from our first experience, and then from our collective experiences, what kind of advice would we offer? I mean, to start, we did mention the pack in, pack out stuff. I mean, so you got to really think it's a little bit more than your normal camping, maybe depending on how you camp, because it's also it's what you're going to do there too. It's not just camping in the sense of okay, we're going to go camp under the stars and have a campfire and that's it. It's also we're going to camp under the stars and we're going to dress crazy. We're going to go, do this. We're going to do that. We're going to bring this to give away, so you got to plan for that kind of stuff. But what else?
I'll cover the newcomer aspect. Just reach out. There's Facebook groups where you can get knowledge about what's happening locally to you and look for events and plan accordingly. There's also meetups that happen in, I'm not sure, how prevalent they are. I know some cities have them more than others. We're fortunate to have one here in Sacramento every month. Just get your feet wet, start cutting your teeth.
Look to get connected to the community any way that is local enough to you.
Start talking to people; they'll fill you in.
Yeah,
that's my advice, really.
And like Joe had told me before we went out there, as best you can, ditch the squareware. Anything you bring that's colorful, pretty, eye-catching. I mean. Doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to look at you weird no matter what. If anything,
it's part of the point of it.
Yeah. If anything, the more socially weird you would look in normal public, you'll be more welcome.
You'll fit in.
Yeah, the more you'll fit in.
Bust out a Trump mask and you'll fit in.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know if you should do that one. Keep the politics and the religion out of it. But yeah.
What's that?
Any advice, Glenn?
Yeah.
That's
advice?
It? Anything?
Have fun.
Hell yeah.
Just be you.
Yep.
Participate.
Participate. Don't stay in your camp. You could totally just stay in your little camp that you put up with whoever you go with.
I don't know why you'd want to.
Leave your cell phone in your truck or in your car.
Yeah.
Just
turn it off.
Just be present and jump in.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think of participating again. Just go back to I was talking before about being pulled in. Some people need a little bump to get them to be a little social, and especially if they're not. And this is something they're doing to look out or break out of it. But if you go to some event or something, don't feel like you're weird because you walk up and say hi to people.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing about it is like it's okay for just walk around and say hi to people, and generally people say hi back.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing is don't forget that even if you don't know anybody, everybody's there to meet you. It's totally cool to just talk and float around. And
they're all there for the same reason.
Everybody's there for the same reason.
Yep.
Very welcoming.
Very welcoming.
Yeah, no, it was weird. It kind of reminded me of family reunion.
Yeah, like a big
but
camp
done at the 380 Club.
Right. Yeah, and everybody was just...
I'm going to throw that in there every time I can.
I don't know, it's like relatives that you've never met.
Yeah, I mean, it really did feel like a one big old huge family camp. Like everybody in your family decided, your extended family included, decided to say, "Hey, let's just all go on a big camping trip."
Well, sure, you got the older generations, and you got the little kids running around, and you got everything in between, and it's everybody is there and open to communicating with you.
And super happy.
It's
super happy to be there.
Right.
Probably waited all year to be there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think some people do. A lot of people don't get a lot of chances to go out and do things like that. It's expensive, especially if you have a family and regular obligations and stuff. So I mean,
and where else would you go to experience something like that anyway? So it's not like you can okay, well, this weekend we're going to go. No, you're not. You have to wait for that event because those are only those types of events can offer that experience.
Yeah, unless you're going to the stereotypical, very commercial type things. And I think that there's a large part of our culture that is looking for something else, some other connection to reality. The reality that doesn't have a cell phone and a big screen and a beer advertisement in front of you,
Right.
The only thing I regret about the leaving my cell phone, because I didn't carry my cell phone with me the whole time, is I'm usually I don't really care about taking pictures, but it's
I had my camera, man.
I know. It's such a kind of at least in our society, in our city, or in the people I know, in my group of people, it's an odd thing for someone to attend. So when I tell people about it, immediately they either can't picture it or they want to see physical pictures so that they can get a mental picture image of what it is I did or where it is I went. And on one side, that I kind of regret that I didn't take more pictures. On the other side, it's kind of like, well, you know what, dude, that was for me. You want to go find out? You are more than welcome to go too. Yeah. Even though I know they won't, but nevertheless, it's kind of so I don't know. I'm kind of torn behind. Damn, I kind of wish I would have carried my camera with me and took more pictures. And there were so many cool things to take pictures of. But then I don't want to live the experience through a freaking technological device.
A device.
I got 2 cameras in my head, and those are really the only ones I want to feed.
At the same time, though. In the sense that it is a art festival. Mm-hmm. It is everything that it focuses around art.
Yep.
Photography is art.
Absolutely.
And
I think having the camera was better, though, because if you're just walking around with a giant, iPad or something taking pictures, I think I would have been annoyed.
Yeah.
But, like Glenn had the camera. He had a real camera.
Yeah.
And I think that's
a better way.
It's a better mentality, and I think that's more appreciated, too, because that's something that you're actually, it's not just like you're grabbing your iPhone, hey, man.
Yeah, I ran across a couple of people with really nice camera setups, and people would just pose. I mean, they're like, cool.
That bit of credibility.
Yes,
everybody wants to pose.
Yes, it's not just a stupid cell phone that are like, oh, okay,
So, the next time you guys will have to hit the photo booth because there's always a photo booth, and they always turn out some really awesome pictures. On
that's
that photo
cool.
booth.
That's
cool.
I
remember that. I was drinking over there. Everything for me in the weekend involved somewhere I was drinking.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sounds like a
On that note, all right, gentlemen, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Burn on.
Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.